this is at 125. That's good. Okay. 1, 2, 3. We're learning Hilchos Tshuva, Halacha Beis. Soya Mishtaleach. The Vishu Kapor Al Kol Yisrael. The soya that's sent out, and that's mechaper on all of Yisrael. We'll go down to the Peirush. We're going to discuss here the vidui on the soya Mishtaleach, on what is mechaper, and the difference between simple sins to difficult ones. Soya Mishtaleach. The Kohen Gadol, that the Soya Mishtaleach is the scapegoat that was sent out by Shiti Hamidbora, the Vishu Kapor Kol Yisrael. Since it's an atonement for all of Klal Yisrael, therefore the Kohen Gadol is Misvada all of Al Shoyishal Kol Yisrael. Here, he is Misvada for everyone. Shame Kol Yisrael, because whoever brings a Korban master, has to say on it the vidui, and so to the Kohen Gadol he would confess on the Soya Mishtaleach, as it says, Shenema Mizvad all of his Korban Bnei Yisrael. He has to say on it all the sins of Bnei Yisrael. The Rambam in Halacha explained that confession means when you do tshuva. But by Korbanos, it doesn't matter having Mises and Bezdin and Malkis. He writes that you confess, and he doesn't explain exactly what you say. Here too, he doesn't say what it is. But in Hilchos Tshuva in Perek Dal Halacha Beis, in Seder Avodah, it says he came to the Soya Mishtaleach. He said, "Ona Hashem chotu," they sinned not willfully, evil. They willfully poshu, they rebelled upon Echo. Ona Hashem kapano chatoim, forgive chatoim avodas b'shoim, that they sinned and they willfully did, and that they rebelled. Your entire Beis Yisrael, as it says, "B'toras Moshe Avdecha." That's why we say the pasuk, "Ki vayem az yechaper aleichem." But on this day, there shall be atonement for all of you. Al ma mechaper soya mishtaleach. What is it? What does it atone for? It's all of the averos shabbatocha, whether they're difficult ones or light ones. Whether he did it willfully or whether he did it unwillfully, whether he knows about it, but whether he doesn't know about it. We'll see. Everything is forgiven and atoned for by the Soya Mishtaleach, by the scapegoat Hilchos Tshuva, but only if the person did Tshuva. And when Hilchos Tshuva, if he didn't do Tshuva, Ein Soya Mechapeloi El Ala Kalos, then it only atones for the lighter sins, and we'll have to see what they are. So Rambam says, which are the lighter and which are the more difficult? The difficult ones are those are the ones for which there is a punishment of death or chorus. The same thing applies to Shavuot Shav, a oath without reason, or a false oath, even though there is no chorus involved, only malchus. Harein chamuras, they consider chamuras because the Shavuos have the Shem Hashem, and it only helps b'soya mishtaleach only if it does tshuva. B'shamitz is like says so mitzvah say she'en bo chorus, but anything else that doesn't have chorus, haina kalos, they are considered lighter, and the soya mishtaleach was mechaper in the time of the Beis Hamikdash, even if a person didn't do tshuva. We'll turn the page. Kesef Mishnah cites the source of this is the Mishnah in Shavuos Beis Amad Beis. V'al sha'ar ve'yoshev ha'torah. It says over there on other sins, both whether they are kakals, ha'chamuros, ha'azdoinos, ha'shkogos, hoida v'lo hoida, whether he knew about it or he doesn't know about it. Asein loises krisus u'mises bezdin. So the Gemara says, Hainu kalos heim asay v'loises. Hainu chamuros heim krisus u'mises bezdin. That what's called light ones, that's an asay and loises. Chamuros is where you have krisus u'mises bezdin. Hoida, we knew about it, is when he did it intentionally. Loyoida is shoygig. Why does the Mishnah tell you both things to double it up? The Gemara says, Oma Rav Yehuda. The intention of the Mishnah is that other Averos Shabbatir, whether they are Chom or Kalos or Chamois, whether they did it willfully or unwillfully, and they have to bring a Osham Tolui, or they did it willfully, still, whether he knew about them, and he has to bring a Osham Tolui Misofik. He's not sure whether he doesn't even know whether he did it or not, and he doesn't even have to bring an Osham Tolui, as it says, he doesn't know that he had unwittingly eaten chelev. He is forgiven. This was the koyach of the Sorel Azazel. The Leches Shloimeh explains why is the Mishnah right as doinos that are the chemuros before the shkogos, or hoida that he knows about it before loy hoida. We usually say the lighter ones and then the heavier ones. From here we would seem to prove, like the Gemara, that hoida and loy hoida is only referring by shogig itself, and therefore if he transgressed once Yom Kippur went by, he's not chayav to bring a korban on all of them, because Soya Mishalech was mechaper for him. Even without tshuva, he would not have to bring on the lighter ones any korbanos. So maybe when Mashiach comes, if we're zeich that Mashiach come right before Yom Kippur, then we'll have the soil azos, and we won't have to bring all the chatoris that we have to bring today. So the Gemara continues that we're liable to bring. The Gemara continues over the Kalos, what are the lighter ones? If transgression of positive or negative commandments, which are the more stringent ones, Kriza Mrs. Bezin, just like the Rambam, that Achamuris, those are Yechai Mrs. Bezin, the Koros, and everything else, whether it's positive or negative commandments, if they don't have a chorus, they are lighter ones. Because there's two mitzvahs that say that do have chorus, which is if you don't bring a korban Pesach, you don't do a bris milah. Because the Mishnah continues that the Gemara is written according to Rebbe. Rebbe disagrees and he says that Yom Kippur is mechaper even if you didn't do tshuva Yom Kippur. So Mishalech mechaper. But we pass like the Chachomim only when he does those tshuva, so Mishalech mechaper. When he tshuva, it's not mechaper. And it's known that the Halacha is not like Rebbe when he has many against him. And therefore, since the Rabbanon disagree, so the Rambam Paskin so Mishalech is mechaper only if he did tshuva kechachomim. Because the Mishnah asks, what the Rambam writes, Avim lo yosa tshuva ein asoy mechaper lo yara kalos. He doesn't know how can it be mechaper la kalos. Kalos, according to Chachomim, even if it was over on a positive or a negative commandment, without tshuva, it's not mechaper. And if he passes like Rebbe, it should be even on the chamuris. So what is this? This is a sort of in between. Where did the Rambam learn to make a differentiation that a chamuris you don't need, so it doesn't help if you don't do tshuva, but on the kalos, if you don't do tshuva, it does work. That's neither like Rebbe nor like the Rabbanon, because the Mishnah ends by concluding that he doesn't have a source tzarech ion, meaning we have to search further. The Mishnah asks the same question, and he adds to it from Shavuos 12b. It says, a mitzvah say that we say that Soya Mishalech is mechaper. What is it referring to? If he didn't do tshuva, why is it mechaper? It's ever rishoyim. Then it comes out that for that person, Soya Mishalech is an offering of rishoyim. It's not accepted, and because the soil is not mechaper, because the soil azozel is considered a korban, and ein rishoyim mechaper if they didn't do tshuva. And if he did do tshuva, we learned in a brayso, if he did mitzvah seva also tshuva, you don't need the soil. As far as an asay goes, you don't need the soil. Like zos mishom, any time of the year, the Meichel, Kodesh Baruch Hu forgives a person if he does tshuva, and he doesn't need the soyer l'chaper. So what do you need the soyer? And he answers Rav Zera as talking that he still is rebellious. He didn't do tshuva. It says Rishon to Eva. How does the soyer help? The sugi is according to Rebbe that says whether you do tshuva or you don't do tshuva, Yom Kippur Mesachem Chaper. So we see that in the Gemara's question, they were of the opinion on mitzvahs say if you didn't do tshuva, the soyer mishalech was not mechaper. In the end, they say that that's only according to Rebbe, that the soyer is mechaper even without tshuva. So according to this Gemara, only according to Rebbe, if you didn't do tshuva, Yom Kippur mechaper like calories, but not according to the Chachomim. And the Rambam paskins the Chachomim, like the Chachomim, the right on Achamuris, it doesn't help without tshuva. So how can he also paskin that it's mechaper if he didn't do tshuva on the lighter ones? And the Machon Nesher further emphasizes this. The Lechem Mishnah even proves that the Rambam doesn't paskin like Rebbe, but he writes in Halacha Gimel that Itzuma shel yeh mechaper le'shovim. It only to those who do tshuva. So you see that he doesn't hold like Rebbe. So we have a problem here. Where does the Rambam get his din that you can do that on the kalos you don't need to do tshuva, on the chamuris you do? We're going to turn the page. Therefore, Lechem Mishnah says that the Rambam learns it from the Gemara that everything that's mentioned in the Mishnah, the soyer is mechaper, is without tshuva. And when the Mishnah talks about one situation, the Gemara asks, if you have Averos Chamuris, some asay, how can I mechaper, soyer mechaper, if you don't do tshuva? Because as we mentioned, that on the asay of bris and on Pesach, there's a chorus, it's zero Rishon to Eva. And the Gemara isn't talking about all the other asays. That everyone agrees that even without tshuva and asay, it's mechaper. So the Gemara asks, if he did tshuva, you don't need Yom Kippur. Not that we don't want it, but you don't need it, because then I say it's mechaper. The Rambam learns this way the Gemara's question, and not like the simple interpretation, in order to minimize the disagreement between Rebbe and Chachomim. Because since according to Rebbe, so Mishalech is mechaper even on creases b'li tshuva, so it would be enough to say that the Chachomim say on creases is not mechaper b'li tshuva, but on the lighter ones it can be mechaper even without tshuva. With regard to what the Mishnah explains, the Achronim asks a question from Zvochin. There it says that Korban Oila is mechaper and bittul asay. That we always find that there is actually a korban, every korban determined every day it was mechaper on the nullification of not completing a positive commandment. So the Gemara says, if he did do tshuva, if he did do tshuva, it says, according to Lechem Mishnah, you don't need with an oil kapora because the tshuva itself helps. So you see, Peirush in the Gemara that even in a mitzvah say, the Gemara seems to conclude you do need some sort of tshuva, and he doesn't want to continue into what the Achronim go in on that question. The Markevas HaMishnah and other Achronim have the opinion that the Rambam differentiates between lighter averis that even without tshuva Yom Kippur is mechaper to the heavier averis from the Yerushalmi. Or asay, so the Yerushalmi Yuma and Shavuos, I'll be a positive commandment, even though he didn't do tshuva, so Mishalech mechaper. Lo says Avshum Mashiach Zero says only Vushel tshuva, like the Rambam. Yerushalmi disagrees with the Bavli, who says, "Hi Esa Id Loyosa Tshuva Zever Rishon to Eva." That if it's not say if he didn't do a tshuva, it doesn't work. But we still have a problem with the Rambam's words that the Soz Mechaper on loises, which are kal, because according to that Yerushalmi, it would seem all loises are in the category of you have to do tshuva. And Yerushalmi says before that on loises is no kapara without tshuva. So Achronim want to explain that Yerushalmi is talking about that on loises of the tshuva, it doesn't help because according to the one who is of the opinion in the Bavli that a lav sheish b'chiyuv malchus is considered nechshav me'averes hachamuras. That means as follows: there are negative commandments that if one transgresses, he doesn't bring a korban, and therefore, when the Yerushalmi is talking about the negative commandments which do need a korban, because the Bavli holds lav sheish b'chiyuv malchus is considered averes chamuras when it's not attached to an assay like zelo, which says return the money. But the Rambam's shita is that a lav that doesn't have chorus, or Mrs. Bezdin, is considered Mrs. Akalos, and therefore it's in the same category as a positive commandment, and it's a lighter avera. Therefore he paskins that if the soya atones for an assay without tshuva, so too it atones for a loisesa, which is of a lighter magnitude, such as those that don't have korbanos, without tshuva. Now, we're going to explain the differentiation between averos kalos to chamuros. The Kesher Mishnah cites that the Divrei Rambam, what's kalos and chamuros? The chamuros are, we'll turn the page, the averos that you're liable for them, Mrs. Bezin, a chorus, a shuv, a sheker, even though they don't have chorus. These two, Shvuah Shav and Sheker, don't have chorus. They are minachamuris. Other mitzvahs are not like that. They're the kalas. It's a Gemara in Shavuos 12b. Amar Yudah. Again, we learned it before. And Shvuah Shav and Shvuah Sheker, how do we know that even though they don't have chorus, they're considered chomor? Is an abrais in Yuma. Eda in kalas, I'll say v'lo yisesa. Chutz melav lo yisiso. Shem Hashem lekecha l'shov. In other words, these two oaths, an oath without reason, whereas a false oath falls under the third of the Ten Commandments. Now, even though Stam Mishnah Yuma is of the opinion that every lav which does not have to do with an asay is considered a more stringent aveira, and therefore would seem that Yom Kippur should not atone without tshuva. Like we do not go according to that Stam Mishnah, even though we usually accord the halacha with the Stam Mishnah, where the Mishnah doesn't quote a specific Tana, because Rabbi Yehuda in Masechet Shavuos says specifically, and he doesn't mention he does not differentiate between the lav shenitah v'asay, the lo nitah v'asay. The other Rambam paskins that any lav that does not have a chorus and does not have misa is considered a negative commandment and of lighter magnitude. So the Kesef Mishnah therefore asks, according to Rabbi Yehuda, there's no difference between loisiso to other lavin. Why is he saying that by the shvuos it doesn't atone for? If we're going to differentiate, why is he making this difference by shvuos? We know it's from the Ten Commandments, but in the Kesef Mishnah answers that since Rabbi Yehuda does not mention, it doesn't take it loisisa from the averos hakalos, doesn't prove that it's since he didn't mention it, it doesn't mean that it's not included. But lav anitah glasay, there he mentions that if Rabbi Yehuda would be of the opinion that they're from the chamuris, he should have mentioned that. And since he didn't mention it, the Rambam is of the opinion that kol lav haflash yeshvei malchus is called nechshav min hakalos because he doesn't differentiate between whether he has malchus or he has a different way of rectifying the sin by returning the gezel, for example, or burning the noiser. And the Kesef Mishnah brings proof that Rabbi Yehuda is of the opinion Shalei Siso is among those more stringent averos. If not, Rabbi Yehuda, he's an Amoira. Who's he going according to? He can't, an Amoira cannot establish a new opinion. He can go according to an opinion stated by the Tanoim. Whose opinion is he going? If, like the Tan of the Stam Mishnah, so every lav that doesn't have to do with Asay should be considered Chamuris. And he says no. He says that all lav mitzmechaper. And if, like the Brisa, Loisiso should be included in the Chamuris. So we must say that he's according to the Brisa, just and only Loisiso and Shavushov V'Sheker are from, and we'll turn the page, the more stringent Averis. But any lav, even if it's not Nita Glase, which means you get Malchus, it's still considered a lighter one as long as it doesn't have Misa and Chorus. What's brought down in Yerushalmi, and like says is not mechaper without tshuva. That's according to the Tana of the Stam Mishnah. That every lav, even though it's not Nita Glase, is considered menachamuris. So we come up in the conclusion that the Rambam chooses to place the categories of the machlokes of Rebbe and the Chachamim to the minimal, and he learns all the Gemaras in order to be able to do that. That the Torah mechaper is mechaper without tshuva for everything except for mises and chorus, and or I say that as chorus, or except for shuas, where we find that is included in the chamuras in the Yerushalmi. And we will continue with Halacha Beis and Mitzvah Shem in the next year.